Hey guys, welcome to Nerdarchy for Nerds by Nerds. I'm Ted, and today I'm hanging out with
Marcus Ryan,
Marcus Steve,
Nathan Nerdock.
Join us as we D&Dized the Mountain that rides, Gregor Clegane.
Jump down the description below where you can find Nerdarchy, the newsletter. Get weekly tips as well as learn how to game with Nerdarchy.
the mountain that rides, or more so the mountain that slays. He's just a badass. He's a hulking mass of muscle and ill will. He is not a nice person. So what do we think? How will we build this character?
Well, I mean, are we starting at class? Do we want to start at race? Where are you looking
Well,
to go?
usually when you're building a character, the race section comes first. So let's take a look at his race.
All right, well...
He's a human, right?
Technically, they are human, but if we're going to D&Dize, as we've done before, there's times that a race is more fitting, even if it's not apropos to the setting.
Right.
We're trying to make the best D&D equivalent of them. And if he's a mountain of a man.
Who does that lead us into?
What kind of race do we...
I would suggest that we go Goliath with that guy.
So, Goliath is in your... Volo's guide.
And it was also in the Elemental Evil, right? Was that where
Player's Companion.
Yeah, so there was that a free supplement?
That was a freebie.
Yeah, so you can either pull that or have it here in your Volo's guide.
Having the printed book here is always a good thing. So they get strength, they get con, they're very athletic, they have the ability to shrug off damage, they're strong in being able to carry things.
It all basically speaks to the mountain.
Yeah.
All right, so we're solid on Goliath, right?
Yeah, I don't think
I don't think there's going to be any
I mean,
disagreement.
the only thing that even would come close is maybe half orc.
Yeah.
So.
In his brutality and savagery.
Yeah, savagery part.
So with that, we're going to need a class, and we are going to need as with a lot of the backgrounds with Game of Thrones, we're going to not go noble on this one. I think he's
a soldier.
He's a soldier.
That's where I was going to go.
Thug soldier.
I would be
Borderline criminal, right?
Yeah, pretty much. Matter of fact, they talk about him terrorizing the countryside with his band, with his soldiers.
Is there like an anti-folk hero?
Well, so
That's what it makes you feel like.
What he could be, folk hero doesn't necessarily mean you're good. Like some of the descriptions of what they do.
That's true.
Yeah, so you could either go folk hero, that would be acceptable, soldier, criminal, but you say for criminal, mercenary, and like instead of thieves' tools, give him like torturer's tools or something like that, because that seems like along the lines of something Gregor.
The only thing is, I feel like that's too much finesse for him.
Yeah.
Butcher tools.
Yeah, right, exactly. Maybe
A hatchet, a hammer, and a spike.
Go folk hero and just call it infamous.
Well, no, folk. Like I said, there's descriptions in folk hero that literally is a might makes right sort of. You're actually the villain. You're known, but you're not known for good reasons.
I think folk hero actually works really well
because there's like legends about him.
Because don't you get land vehicles? And I think
what is it? The band of.
Brotherhood of Five Banners.
He's the reason why they formed.
Yeah, the Brotherhood without
essentially,
banners. Yeah, is because of he brought together people not for good reason. Again, we're obviously going to max out strength and then Constitution,
dump intelligence
and charisma. Well, basically, charisma and intelligence. We're probably going to go as low as we can with the stat array for that.
And oddly, so the lowest being intelligence and possibly then wisdom and then charisma. Because I feel like for Dex, even though he was a big guy, he moved well.
Do we want to, instead of doing the basic stat array, do we want to do the point buy and do 15s and 9s?
Is it 15s and 8s? But no.
15 is too high for his dexterity. And the thing is even though like there's nothing attractive about that man, I feel like he could have a high charisma just because of his presence.
Yeah, and he deals in court a little bit. Enough functional. He's at least a 10. So we have some options for background, but going with folk hero, fighter. I'm sure we can all agree on that.
Yes.
Yeah, and he's not a tactician, so battle masters out. There's no magic in very little magic in Game of Thrones,
and he definitely doesn't have it.
All right, so we have fighter champion, background folk hero. We went with Goliath. Now, what kind of feats are we going to give this guy?
Well, we're going to absolutely have to go with Great Weapon Master.
That is prerequisite.
Well, that being said, too, we also said he's a champion for the archetype, which makes sense, like because he's not a battle master, not an Eldritch Knight. So fighting style, obviously he fights with a two-handed weapon. So either
We need to pile on Savage. Savage Attacker, Great Weapon Master. I think those are about the 2 feats that he needs.
they're probably the only two because again, Game of Thrones, these characters aren't epic level
Yeah.
heroes. They're
He's probably about an 8th to 10th level.
So if we're thinking, what about Heavy Armor Master? To have him shrug off even more damage? We're not talking about people walking around with magic weapons, so shrugging off even more damage.
And that gives him the feel of, like, we were thinking Barbarian, but that didn't really seem like a good thing. It didn't work with the mechanics of the game, so then the Heavy Armor Master absolutely is a good fit.
and that's literally 8 levels.
Yeah, with the fight.
Oh no, he's not human. I'm sorry.
Inspiring leader.
He inspires, but
Terror.
he spends like 10 minutes shaking his fist.
Kills a few.
You know what?
peasants.
As Dungeon Master, I would allow it.
Bring out the peasants to fight me.
I'm totally motivated.
Does he need Tavern Brawler?
Well, no, we're not gonna have enough levels. Like there's definitely ones that fit, but if we're saying that he's probably like 8th level, that's only 2
So
feats.
4, 6, 8.
Oh, that's right. Fighter gets 3.
So Great Weapon Master, Savage Attacker, and Heavy Armor Master.
Yeah, those seem the most appropriate to the character.
Yeah, while Tavern Brawler works, he's still he's trained as a knight, even if he doesn't really act very knightly. Because that was the other thing, like the new Unearthed Arcana came out with the knight, and we said, well, maybe he's a knight. But then when we think about him, he's just a mountain of combat and fighting, and there's not very little knightly about him. He's
not going to be defending people as per a lot of the abilities in there, and he's also probably not a superior horseman. He probably does okay, but he's not fantastic.
and the last place he probably wants to be is in court.
Mm-hmm.
And if he is there, he's just going to stand there and look
Scowl,
impressive.
look
He's like a knight in name only. Like that's
So my question is, right? This might be a spoiler for some of you guys, but all right. So we have them kind of all mapped out, right? That's the mountain. But what about after the fight with Oberyn, the Red Viper?
Yeah, well, then he becomes a revenant.
Is he a revenant or is he really just like a zombie? Because
Well,
I can't see
Yeah.
him as a zombie. Either he's got to be his own.
revenant's too good, or
What about Flesh Golem?
I was kind of thinking he's very like Frank. I think made me think of like Frankenstein.
I think
I've
there might
watched
be
all
a
the
new-
rest, and I don't think anybody's hurt him yet. Well, no, wait. Actually, he's been stabbed, and he's just like, man.
I think there might be like either a flesh golem or his own template.
Minor flesh golem. yeah. Well, flesh golem is the weakest of the golems, so if that's the one to go with, that would be the one. And I think they're smarter than zombies.
And I feel like he's definitely gained strength, so he's over the human capacity for strength now.
How would you even tell? Really, he was so
Oh,
strong before.
I mean, he
he was
the-
super strong before.
he
But I
was
mean,
the pinnacle.
if we say
Yeah.
like 20 is how high you can get,
yeah.
then I feel like he's going over that.
Yeah, we're gonna look at the stats for flesh golem and realize it's a 19.
Oh, if it's a
Son of a
19.
bitch. Yeah, I mean, but he did de-head a horse in one swing. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
Considering how much mass is in a horse's neck, that's certainly impressive.
Yes.
although I would call that probably a maybe a coup de grace crit sort of situation with Savage Attacker, 2 dice pools. Like, you start to get mechanically on the order of being able to decaffeinate a horse in one blow.
Decaffeinate?
Decaffeinate.
Yes.
That horse isn't going anywhere, so he doesn't have much pep in his step, so decaffeinate. Yeah.
Extreme decaffeination.
I don't know, guys. What do you think? Did we hit the mark on this one? Let us know in the comments below. While you're at it, like, share, and subscribe.
You can check out the articles over at nerdarchy.com.
While there, don't forget to check out the store.
Yep, and you can also patronize us in a good way over on Patreon.
So until next time,
Stay nerdy.